It just goes to show it doesn't matter whether you're in GEO or social media or video production. You know, you need to have something that stays above the noise.
Welcome to another episode of the Podcast Interview Marketing Show. Today I'm talking with Andreas Voniatis from Artius, and we're looking at a shift that every coach, consultant, author, and professional service business owner needs to understand today. You see, for years, the game was search. Keywords, backlinks, blog posts, maybe even a few tricks to make Google notice you. But as Andreas explains, AI is changing all of the rules. It's not just looking for more content. It's looking for better content, new insights, original thinking, real conversations, the kind of signal that rises above all of this AI noise. And that's why podcast interview marketing is more powerful than ever. You see, your podcast is not just more content. It's real conversations where your perspective, your experience, your stories, and your proprietary insights can come through in a way that generic AI written articles never could. If you want AI, your ideal clients, and even the marketplace to recommend you, you can't just repeat what everyone else is saying. You need to teach something new. You need to be useful. You need to be trusted. Today, Andreas will help us to become not just visible in the age of AI, but recommended. Let's get to it. Andreas, I am so excited to talk with you today. You know, we've talked before, and I love your insights, your background on AI, right? Back in, 2019, you built your first LLM, and that was before most people knew what the letters AI stood for. And, now today you're helping people and companies get recommended on AI. And I love your back to your first principles look on how to actually make it work, not just hacks and tricks and all the rest of that. So, let's start from the beginning, right? As AI is changing how experts get found, right? What do they need to be thinking about so that they can be recommended? So they're helping the training data so that they get not only visible, but recommended.
So great question, Tom. If you want to be more visible in AI search, what you need to be doing is giving AI what it really wants, and that is content that makes its models smarter, because AI has no reason to change the status quo and feature your company if you're not giving something in return. So you really need to be coming up with content that helps AI get smarter and therefore provide a better service to users of AI.
So it's not just more, right? It's not just the noise. It's something new, something insights there.
It is, yeah, absolutely. So using the SEO tactics of desk-based research will not work. With SEO in the last 2 decades, we've seen many SEO consultants and teams. They would look at the top 10, take all of the best sections in the top 10, make theirs slightly longer and better, and that worked. It worked for a very long time. With AI, that's not going to work. Even if you prompt engineer um, your research as part of your content, it's not going to work because it's not teaching AI anything new. What it is doing, AI will realize very quickly that the content came from AI, and therefore is not making its LLM models any smarter.
And you mentioned something we were talking about. It actually doesn't want to go through all of that noise because it's expensive, right? Compute time for them is money. So if you're just rehashing what they've already done, or you're publishing what AI has already created there, it it actually is a negative thing.
That's right. It costs 8 times more to process a prompt in an AI search compared to a Google search. So AI is heavily constrained by the computing power. It's incredibly expensive. So that's why the information gain requirements to succeed and be visible in the AI search are far, far higher compared to a search engine.
So where do you see that AI is going to get this information, right? If it doesn't want information that it already created, where is it looking for the signal, right? That net new information.
Well, that's a great question. So AI is still crawling the web, and it's still relying on search partners like Google and other publishing partners. But what it's really looking for are unseen insights, insights that have not yet been published in the world before, or at least new to its models. Um, so what you need to be producing is research grade reports that actually show that there's a significant difference between your content and all of the content that's on the internet. You need to show your content is not simply adding to the noise, but adding value in order to justify that 8 times that 8 times in cost compared to a Google search.
I think of Christopher Lochhead calls it content-free content, right?
Yes,
Where
indeed.
there's no new ideas in it. It's just a rehash of something else, right? There's no point of view on it. It's just like it's a cover album for everything else that's out there. People don't pay attention to it, and as you say, it's expensive for AI to pay attention to it.
Absolutely. Content-free content, I think that worked for SEO. It certainly won't work for AI. It really does demand something new, as in uh, content value content, if that's the way to put it.
Oh, yeah. Imagine that content with content. And I guess that's even builds, it's this noise versus signal, the attention versus trust. And you were talking about that a little bit, that AI recommends who they trust, not just, keyword optimized. Could you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, that's right. If you think about a search engine, it has a very narrow input window, i.e., a keyword phrase, and the output window is pretty limited as well because it's just a list of web links. Um, Whereas AI has a very wide output window and a very wide input window. So AI is a lot more smarter. I know we've all witnessed how search engines over the years have tried to move towards personalized search, but AI, well, with the level of technology that it's at, it can take into account the context of who you are, not just what you want, but how you want it, what the constraints are. So AI from that perspective um, can take a much wider set of inputs, such as instead of the SEO playbook tactic of what is disaster recovery, for example. Um, you know, from a search engine perspective, that worked really well because it wasn't um, persona driven, whereas AI is persona driven. So it's not just a case of you want disaster recovery or men's jeans. If you typed in men's jeans in the Google search, you could get anything from luxury brands to the very sort of uh, cheap brands. Whereas AI can take that into account. You're going to a party, there's going to be a bunch of A-listers there. Recommend some jeans. And AI can cope with that, and it can give you really bespoke recommendations because it has a much wider context window. Whereas the search engine, it will give you a list of results, but it doesn't really know, whether to give you Versace or American Apparel. So yeah, that's the power of AI, and that shows that your content has to be much more persona driven than it would have done in the age of search.
And even to the point AI will now give me what I want as opposed to what I ask for, right? So when I misspell genes, it doesn't come up showing me chromosomes or something. And I always am amazed sometimes when people go back to what worked in the last generation, right? When I people hear people talking about, well, what keywords should you put into your podcast interview? Or it's got to have the keyword in the title. To me, that is as archaic as your company should start with AMCO, right? because as people are flipping through the yellow pages, the phone book, the first thing they'll come to is yours because it starts with an AA. And I'm like, that doesn't work anymore in the same way that keywords aren't working in the land of AI.
Yeah, so I mean, there's still a bit of a reliance on keywords, but you're absolutely right. One of the things that AI has that search engines don't have is a memory, right? So it can remember what you typed before. So it has it memorizes a conversation, whereas a search engine, you type something else following your previous query, and it doesn't take the previous query into account like AI does, and so it is less keyword focus. Because it's more conversation and more persona driven.
So what are you calling it now? I think I've used 2 or 3 words here. I hear AEO, I hear GEO. How do you think about it?
Well, I don't endorse the New York Times, but last year in last year they declared SEO was dead and hello GEO. So I'm gonna go with GEO. I'm seeing that GEO is used more often, and I see answer engine optimization or AEO as a subset of GEO, because with GEO you're both trying to be cited and the answer, whereas AEO seems to be a lot narrower, where you're just the answer, but uh, it doesn't have any kind of any reference to being cited, which is very valuable.
Let's drill down there on a little bit on AEO. One of my books that I really like, Marcus Sheridan wrote this book called They Ask You Answer, right? It seemed easy enough. And in the SEO terms, right, you could find that even, you go speak at a live event, when they ask you questions, make sure you answer them and realize that other people have that. How do you find out from an AEO, an answer engine optimization, how do you find out what people are asking about that are your ideal clients?
So that's a really great question, because we don't have the keyword tools that in GEO as we do in SEO, and even the keyword tools in SEO are quite questionable, because a lot of the data comes from Google Ads, which is an auction, and so Google deliberately hides those true keyword insights. So you can use Google Search Console, but even that is quite limited, because it's for the search engine, not for Gemini or Google AI overviews. But you do get some leakage on occasion. So what we do is, rather than trying to prompt engineer uh, prompts or questions that your target buyer might ask, what we do is we data mine the internet, and what we do is, by data mining the internet and by focusing on the persona and looking at their opinions, we're able to see what it is they care about. And that, to me, is far better than any keyword research tool, because when you know what they care about, you then know what articles to produce.
I love that because it's like it almost like starts with the problem, right? What's the problem they're searching for? What do they care about? Then you can start talking about, the solution or how you see the world.
Well, absolutely, and even within a topic, not only do you know what they want to discuss, you know how they're discussing it, you know what they think, you know what the opinions are, and that creates very persona-rich insights that would make an AI model smarter.
Excellent. And, you know, we were talking and you said something about that, it's just not the SEO playbook anymore. Do these 5 hacks and you'll be on page 1, right? That even if you do the stuff right, follow the best practices, it may not save your pipeline. And to me, that's scary because whether or not you believe the New York Times that SEO is dead, it's definitely dying. Paid ads are dying. Um, the yellow pages, there's still some people that say it's alive. I, I think we can bury that one by now. But all of these things are getting less efficient. Or I'm sorry, they're getting more efficient but less effective. So as one ramps down, you've got to ramp the other one up. So what do you think most people are missing in where we're going with this?
Yeah, I think we're increasingly living in a multi-channel world. You should never be over reliant on a single channel. I would agree with you that uh, while I won't go as far as saying SEO is dead, I think the industry itself is on life support. So you know, all of these hacks that you you mentioned, to me, these hacks are just hygiene factors. Like make sure you do schema, make sure you restructure your content into FAQ format. The trouble is with all of these low cost hacks is if you can do it, so can everybody else, including your competition. So it's not the game changer. The game changer is insights that teach the world something new and also make AI smarter. And if I could just continue, the
Please.
thing I want to mention as well is that with SEO content, nobody would be seen dead sharing an article on, what are men's jeans because it's really obvious, or what is disaster recovery. If you're selling disaster recovery to a CTO, which most recovery companies are, your target buyer persona already knows what disaster recovery is. Um, so, so what? So by producing reports that teach AI and people something new, you've now suddenly got content not just for search engines. You've also got content that appeals to your target buyer. So instead of what is disaster recovery, it might be, what are the attacks you're defending against, or what attacks did you encounter that prompted you uh, to 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 uh, to take out disaster recovery. You see that other buyers want to learn from other buyers, so you can't get that from SEO content, but you can get it from GEO content.
Interesting. And I love how you said for different channels, right? You always say, well, you should write for your ideal client, your super consumer, but it's also you're still writing a little bit for SEO, right? Just the way the hygiene that you put it together, and then also that you're writing it for the search engines that refer your clients. And I keep going back. Is it that refer or who refer? And it's like, well, if it's an object, it's that. But if it's a person, and that's what so many of these referrals feel like when AI tells you something. So that's very interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, the other thing, uh, if you're producing really good content that makes AI smarter, guess what? People want it. You'll find that by being cited, you're almost getting free public relations because journalists are looking for data and trends. And if you're producing research grade reports like we are, then you're going to suddenly find that your content is earning backlinks from top tier publications. It's also, um, people will create social posts on LinkedIn, for example, and they will reference one of the statistics that is mentioned in your report. So this is not just for search. This is for people, and that manifests itself in ways such as public relations or social media posts.
And it's what we talk about, right? Don't do one interview 50 times, right? That sort of becomes just noise. But if you've got new content, new data, new insights for that, people will listen. And so will the other channels too.
Yes, 100%.
So talk to me a little bit more about how you apply this, because one of the things that amazed me is when we first talking, you're like, yeah, we'll guarantee that we can get you the improvements on this. And I was like, at first, it's like, no, that sounds too good to be true, right? There's a lot of people that say that, but we've known each other for a while here. And, you're not just an AI guru that figured out AI a year ago. You've been doing this and seeing great results. So, what does that look like?
Yeah. So when you've built an AI from scratch, you have a pretty good understanding of what it is AI is looking for. And the reason why we're able to make good on those guarantees is because we take care of the research that we know will make uh, AI models smarter, and that's because we're using the very same data sources that AI relies upon. And also, we're promoting it using digital PR. And that includes not just increasing your authority, but also increasing the sentiment of your brand on the internet, because AI is quite sensitive to that. Because AI is very smart. So it's by producing insights from data sources that AI relies on. We're pretty confident, and so far it's proved to be the case. We're across all of our clients that we can meet those performance standards that are guaranteed.
Uh, Full disclosure here, Andres is also a client of Interview Valet. When he reached out to us, I was so amazed with what he was talking about. I'm like, oh, let's get you on the podcast interview marketing show because I'm learning so much just from our initial conversations here. So, how do you see the podcast interviews playing into not only talking to your ideal clients, but the AI?
Yeah, absolutely. So with podcast interviews, you'll find with platforms like YouTube, they have a transcript, and so AI will extract all of that. AI is not quite multimodal yet. Um, as in, when I talk about multimodal, it's not able to pass videos and images, as part of its standard process for data extraction to feed its models. So, but that will change because we're already seeing models from China that are using image encryption instead of text encryption, which means that the throughput of AI will improve by a factor of 10x, and that means that it will become multimodal. So if you're not in podcasts today, you will most certainly want to be tomorrow, because um, it will start taking in video feeds and image because of the advances in technology to feed those into the model.
And it's funny, even you say podcast, right? And people are, I think they've given up now saying, no, podcasts are just audio. No, 96% of podcasts now are video too. So when you talk about multi-channel there, not only are people indexing you, listening to you all kinds of ways, but so is the AI.
Well, your team will know from our conversations that I was very keen on podcast hosts that have a well-maintained YouTube channel. So, absolutely, I think and video is a lot more engaging than static text. Uh, you're seeing because of AI, it's added a lot of noise in the marketplace, not just in terms of the amount of apps that get launched now that are vibe coded, but also in terms of the amount of marketing noise. You're seeing a lot of uh, AI generated scripts that are used in captions on LinkedIn, for example, and actually. It just goes to show it doesn't matter whether you're in GEO or social media or video production. You know, you need to have something that stays above the noise, and video is a lot more engaging as a reel compared to static text. So that's another advantage of podcasts. You need to get into it because it's not just the podcast itself and the brand awareness benefit, but it's also the benefits of AI and social media to stand out, to stand out above the noise.
And it's that real conversation because as you were saying that, all I could think of is the people that you can tell that it was AI written script for it, and you can watch their eyes go left and right as they're reading the AI. If I can pick it up, so can the AI engines.
Very much so. I mean, AI written captions on social media. They've got all these icons and M dashes, and it's also certain language patterns as well that make it really quite obvious and almost, I would say, off-putting, if I'm honest.
Yep. Well, um, My team has always joked that if there isn't a typo or a grammatical error in an email from me, it didn't come from me.
Well, sometimes I'm deliberately making the language inconsistent in my emails to make it quite obvious that it was me writing it and not AI.
Yeah, and you think about this conversation. Um, every sentence isn't grammatically correct. Sometimes we talk over each other. If somebody listens to this, it's like, no, this is two people having a conversation about what the future looks like. This is not AI creating a podcast based on everything it knows about the past.
Yeah, 100%. You'll be pleased to know I'm not a hologram of Andreas. I'm the real McCoy.
Well, if I was a hologram, I'd choose a better one. But as we wrap this up, what would you say somebody right now that, is thinking about it? They've heard a lot of noise around it. What was the clarity that you would give to somebody that's a thought leader, a humble hero that wants to get their message out there that could really help the world if the world only knew about them and AI recommended them?
Could you rephrase your question slightly?
Yeah,
Thank you. Sorry.
I'm famous for giving a long question that's got 3 questions in it, right? Pick anyone you want to in there.
Yeah. Sorry, and,
No, I'll
could you just
I'll
tell me
start it
the
over from the beginning here.
okay, great,
Yeah.
cool. Did you wanna tell me the intent of your question so I kind of, uh is it the guaranteed winning thing,
No, it's
or
more
is
like
it
it's like what how they should think about it, what they should do,
oh, yeah, great,
that
cool,
sort of thing.
okay.
So, Andreas, as we wrap this up here, the question I have is there's so many people out there that are thought leaders. They're humble heroes. They've got a great product, a great service. They could help the world if the world only knew about them and AI would recommend them. So, what would you say to them? How should they be thinking about this, or what's the one thing that they should do to take action here?
Absolutely. What they should, what business leaders should be doing to be visible in AI is they should be carrying out proprietary research that can be used in their reports because proprietary research is obviously unique to them and therefore citation worthy to AI search platforms. They're going to get the credit and therefore they're on the path to becoming the answer in AI.
Real content, just not content-free content.
Indeed. There's such a
Well,
thing as free lunch.
well, um, people love this, right? Where can they find more about you, everything you do, and really help them start to get found in GEO and AEO?
Absolutely. We have a number of free mini books on our website, and people wanting to know more can visit artios.io. That's artios.io/guaranteed hyphen winning.
Well, definitely check it out, Andreas. What is normal, what's ordinary to you is amazing to others, and you're a breath of fresh air in this whole AI discussion. You've built one, you've seen people use them, and definitely check out artius.io. You'll be glad you did.
Thank you so much.
What a great conversation with Andreas. The big takeaway for me is this. AI is not rewarding noise. It's rewarding signal. The signal that comes from original insights, real experience, and content that actually helps people make better decisions. That should be encouraging to the humble heroes listening here. You don't need to be louder than everyone else. You don't need to chase every new hack. You need to share what you know in a way that serves your ideal clients and gives both people and AI a reason to trust you. So here's the next action step. Before your next podcast interview, ask yourself, what can I say that my ideal client hasn't heard 100 times before? Bring a story, a statistic, a piece of proprietary research, a client insight, or just a hard-earned lesson. Don't do one interview 50 times. Don't just keep telling your story. Make every conversation a chance to teach something new. And as I say in my book, Podcast Guest Profits, this isn't magic. It's a system. The goal is not just to get heard. It's to help the right people know, like, and trust you, and then take the next steps with you.